Hi and welcome to Talk Too Late. I am Game Too Late and this is the show in which we look at games and games industry news from 2 years ago. I am joined as usual by my amazing guests HeadacheMik.
Hi guys.
And Prosil.
Hey guys.
So again, this is our episode today is going to be about May 2018. We're gonna be looking at the first half of May 2018, check out some games that came out, and then check out some news as well. And then we're also gonna have a second part of the show, a second segment. This episode is gonna be a very special one because on our second segment we're gonna run a retrospective of Metal Gear Solid 5. I have recently completed Metal Gear Solid 5. It's been quite the journey. I really would like to publicly thank HeadacheMik and Prosil because for this long 5 years, well 4 years and a half, I was trying to play this game and they were begging me to play it. And for this long years, they have managed not to spoiler anything to me. So I wanted to thank you guys publicly. How are you guys? What do you guys think about the fact that I managed to stay spoiler free for so long?
Remarkable. I think that once you pass the beginning, it's okay. But also, if you have friends that play the game, it's a challenge.
Yeah, the initial part is where you get most of the spoilers. Anyway, what have you guys been up to? How are you guys?
Fine. We're just enjoying the quarantine.
Yeah, it's great.
And just streaming and playing some old video games. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, I saw you playing Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 2 is actually on discount on Steam. I was thinking about getting it.
Even the first one was on discount. I think they both were.
So, yeah, but I was looking at the Mac store because I have a Mac. And the second one maybe is on the Mac, not the first one. Anyway, I was thinking about getting it at some point.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you don't have to be sorry. It's not a disease.
But I feel I don't know. Yeah.
Playing on Mac is a thing. How are you, Prosil?
Sorry.
I'm alright. I'm good. I've been exercising home. Found my routine working from home. I'm streaming. Streaming an old game that I was expecting to be much better, which is Wolfenstein, The New Order.
All right.
I'm really shocked because I was expecting it to be a good game. I bought it a few years ago. I never played it. And then I'm trying to platin that. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Cool. Are you playing it on PS4 or Switch?
It's PS4.
Yeah.
But the graphic, it's terrible. Like the animation, I think looks like a PS3 game. It looks like a PS3 game in my opinion. And I don't know how come it took a 9 out of 10 back in the day, because there are so many better games on PS3 than these. But yeah.
I mean, killing Nazis usually ranks pretty high in like.
But it doesn't look like you're killing Nazis because they are all dressed up. So there is very little about Nazi. I know that the game in Germany has a different layout and there are not Nazi around.
Oh, really?
But it doesn't give you the reward of stabbing and slaughtering them. Not at all. Like, not by far. But there are some very cruel cutscenes at the beginning. One of your teammates get taken the eyes out. And this is my trailer video, but I don't
know. I've just learned that you made a trailer videos.
That's nice.
You're preparing for the upcoming change of Twitch, because they have been hinting that they're gonna change the profile page and you can upload some sort of trailer video on your cover. Yeah. So yeah, you got one ready already. And I like this effect, like this whole TV effect.
It's very, I don't know, seems like it's speed up. When I uploaded it, it goes faster than it should, probably because I'm slightly beyond the minute. Yeah, but it took me a bit to make it. Like it's
that's the Zelda edition of the Wii U.
Yeah,
pretty.
Outside.
Pretty.
And there is a Dragon Ball figures there.
And there's a Dragon Ball figures. I can.
Like Saint Seiya. There are 3 Saint Seiya sets: Super Mario 3, Hitman, and the Dragon Ball. That's pretty rare stuff.
Cool. Anyway, guys, I think it's time to move on into our schedule and check out the games and games industry stories from May 2018. Let's do that now. No pun intended with quiet from Metal Gear. Anyway, fairly quiet a couple of weeks. So first week of May really didn't see a lot of releases. There were Total War Saga, Thrones of Britannia. This is a new series inside the Total War universe, and this one was focused on Britain and the ancient times of Britain and fights against, I don't remember exactly what it's about, but anyway, they tried to introduce a few new game mechanics. I quite like Total War games. Did you guys ever play Total War? It's like ancient
No.
strategy military games with
I think I played like a Total War Rome, I think, like ages ago.
Yes, Total War Rome is probably to this day one of the fan favorite. You basically build an empire, and there's also a battle gameplay attached to the main campaign game. And anyway, this was already 2 years ago. I cannot believe that. And just the day after that, they have released Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, yet another one of those Wii U games ported quite successfully, to Nintendo Switch. Unbelievable. I think Prosil has played this one.
Yes, I played it recently, and
Alright.
it's a nice game, but it's not one of those games that makes you shout miracles. It loses a bit of the original Donkey Kong Country. Honestly, it doesn't look like it's Donkey Kong Country. It's a bit different. Like Donkey Kong Country Returns, is lost a bit. It's still enjoyable as a platform. Nice boss fights. But I think Donkey Kong Country is famous for the soundtrack and being also a platform where you have to think. In this platform is a lot of action. The Wii U is harder than the Switch, because the Switch, they introduced this flying Kong that helps you a bit. So the Wii U part is harder. It's the game that on portable console is great, but I was expecting Switch to have a better version as well, because it's the same graphic and same stuff than the Wii U. It has only a couple of features, like for making the game easier, because the game goes to a wider range of people, like also children and people that want to enjoy it. It's not a game that I would buy again.
It's funny that you sorry to interrupt you. It's funny that you call this a very easy game, because when I was preparing the episode, I was looking at articles from 2 years ago. There is a very interesting article from Tim Rogers. He praises the game very much. There is this review of the very famous Tim Rogers. He's quite famous for his video reviews, but also another article by the super famous Jason Schreier. He actually calls Tropical Freeze delightfully difficult. So he does mention that the game has a sort of a naughty side. I don't know if this is the Nintendo Switch version, or it simply speaks for the fact that your standard of difficulty is so high that hard games for game journalists are easy for you. That's what I think it is.
I mean, I've grown up with platform where you were dying, finishing your lives, and restarting from level 1. Yeah. Now, I don't expect this in 2020, but I expect that if you die, you restart the world from level 1, like Mario 3. But this is not like you die, you restart. Instead of when you finish your lives, instead of restarting the game from the first level, you lose the checkpoint into the level. Period. It's not. There are a couple of sessions that are hard, and there are a couple of secret levels that are possibly hard, but it's not a difficult game. Like this is by far, and it doesn't add up. In secret areas, and it's not a rewarding game in my opinion. It's an okay game, and if Donkey Kong wasn't there, probably everybody would have ignored this game. Period. Like, I mean, it's remarkable graphics on the Wii U. Today, 6 years later or 5 years later, I think it's an outdated game. It's a cheap move to 45-50 quid. Definitely. You can see, I mean, it's nice. There's some good characterization. If you want to do the game with the whole letters and stuff, which is what I was doing until I gave up, not because the game was difficult, but because it wasn't really worth it. There is this system on Nintendo where there are no trophies, but at the same time there is no also an alternative ending, and I've been looking for an alternative ending on YouTube and I couldn't find one, so I stopped playing the game.
I have to say, technically, you can tell that the polygon count is very simple. Like these polygon structures are square. You can see how this sort of polygon complexity is reminiscent of the PS3 age. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it really looks like, in terms of polygon complexity, that it's a Wii U game at best. But obviously the shaders and the texture resolution of the Nintendo Switch are probably higher, so everything looks pretty shiny and smooth, but still fairly rooted in the past. But I have to say that graphically, I think that most Nintendo games, even when technically they don't move a big world, a very detailed world, they're still pretty to see, if you know what I mean, just artistically speaking.
I think this is a thing with the color palette of Nintendo games. Definitely they have a unique palette.
This is not particularly super pretty technically from a standpoint, but just looking at the shades and the sort of materials that they wanted to use, one remains impressed just because of details, those shades like that. And
what's missing here for being a Donkey Kong Country? For me, a Donkey Kong Country is a Silicon graphic game, period. It needs to have secret level, it needs to be bloody difficult, it needs to have good soundtrack, but the graphic must be something that is new. This one is something you already seen everywhere. The graphic is not adding anything new, it's not peculiar, it doesn't have characterization. Like even the Kong, I was about to say the donkey. Even the Kong is pretty anonymous to me. It's not the Donkey Kong we were used to see. It's not the Donkey Kong that you were looking hours on your screen on 2D on the Super NES, looking which kind of animation was pulling out of the box. So yeah, I don't know. For me, it was a bit of disappointment, I have to say.
Cool.
But it's a nice game, but it's a 7, no more than that.
It's a 7, and I let this roll out with one article from Eurogamer from the 8th of May 2018, where it goes like, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Switch sales show why these ports of Wii U games exist. Say it's bananas, as in like it's sold very much. And when you look at the chart from 2 years ago, just imagine that Donkey Kong almost topped up God of War, but it surpassed Far Cry 5, FIFA 18, Mario Kart 8, Fallout 4. Well, Fallout 4 was a bit of a mess, but yeah. But anyway, pretty much up there with Far Cry and God of War. So, and we're talking about a Wii U game coming out in 2018, and Eurogamer cannot be.
It's remarkable.
Cannot be faulted, Eurogamer, for pointing out that yes, maybe the reason why these games come out is that people buy it, and they buy it a lot in great numbers. So. Quite impressive stuff. But let's go back to our schedule.
What was that?
Come again?
The Formula 1?
Yeah, I'm keeping that stuff for later. Don't spoil the little surprise for the end of this first segment before we talk about Metal Gear Solid 5. Going forward on our schedule, we've got Steins Gate Zero coming out on Windows. We've got a lot of small games, really. I don't even know the half of these. We're talking about smaller productions such as Battle Chaser, Little Witch Academia, Shin Megami Tensei, spin-off.
Isn't that Persona?
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei is the series from which Persona was originated as a spin-off of. But this one is a spin-off of, like another spin-off. Toryuazu, which is some sort of shoot 'em up, and that pretty much wraps up the first 2 weeks of May. I didn't remember May to be such a quiet month. Usually you get games coming out in May. It's because I don't know why it was like this. But for the next episode, 2 weeks from now, let's throw a little glimpse at
quite a few, though. Huh?
at the future. The next episode is going to be the Mega Man collection. There's going to be Stardew Valley coming to PS Vita, guys. PS Vita is never dying. And guess what?
It's never dying in 2018.
Yeah, and we're going to have to talk about Biohazard 7 for Nintendo Switch. Which
Wait,
yes,
what?
I know what you're
What?
thinking. I know what you're
When?
thinking. Biohazard 7 is on Nintendo Switch in Japan only
Oh,
via cloud. But again,
Yeah, there is Bloodstain as well.
that's Bloodstained, but yeah, normally. But Biohazard 7 is a fairly unique case where they were doing already the Google Stadia thing of streaming games inside the Switch. So yeah, literally they would stream a game computed somewhere else into the Switch, and you can play a full, proper PS4 version of the game on your Nintendo Switch. And if you want to know more about this, and if you think that this is a good solution for future games and for future proofing the hardware life of Nintendo Switch, I suggest you go back to our YouTube playlist and check out our special episode about Nintendo Switch and the future of Nintendo Switch, because we have talked about that. Next episode we're also going to cover Detroit. We're also going to cover Dark Souls Remastered. And
Quite intense next episode.
Next episode
There
is
is
gonna be
also
good.
Hyrule Warriors.
yeah.
Persona
Hyrule
5.
Wars. Yeah, more stuff coming out. Definitely, it's gonna be a nice little thing for the
Sick
next
stuff.
episode. But let's look at some industry news and little articles that I've selected for you guys that date back to May 2018. So the first one is Bose Key Productions has actually failed and shut down in May. Bose Key Production is the studio which was put together by Cliff Bleszinski. Cliff Bleszinski is this guy. He's the creator, sort of inventor, and sort of poster boy, fairly famous, popular game designer and game creator of the original Gear of Wars.
Unreal.
And Unreal, yes. When he was like a kid, a very young kid, he worked on the development of Unreal, and then he created Gears of Wars. So he played a fairly important role in the early days of Xbox 360. And so, strong of his success, he decided in 2014 to open his own studio, Bose Key Production. And he devoted a few years to create a game which was LawBreakers. LawBreakers is a first-person shooter, but after it came out in 2017, it wasn't considered to be enough, successful enough, or to be selling enough. It didn't make it, and yeah, the market out there, even though the game was, discreet and had, a moderate degree of success, it didn't make it, and they decided to can the game support and close the studio. So sometimes
It's a terrible game.
Sometimes even when you are a fairly esteemed and affirmed game designer, it's pretty hard to make it.
Well, with Unreal, he didn't invented anything new. I know Unreal fan will kill me, but I think Unreal was using at best the engine that was released, like the NVIDIA that was released. I think back in the day was like shocking because you could see new polygons, new stuff, and it was an open world kind of in levels. Was quite impressive, and multiplayer and all the stuff was great. When it comes to Gears of War, he had the camera behind the shoulders that was taken from Resident Evil.
But I think like Gears of War, yes, it was a third-person shooter, but I think that it was the first one to introduce the cover mechanic in a convincing way in a shooter, because you would go and take cover, and in a way that maybe you can find it similar to Uncharted, although Uncharted is not purely a shooter, but that sort of cover mechanic has been a sort of a pivotal moment in game development during those years. Everybody had fucking cover mechanics at some point,
Also, it was a better, like it was a Halo with a lot of better charisma with the characters and story.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the ad on the TV with Mad World?
Oh,
Yeah,
That was
was
just
amazing.
like that made me buy the game. Like that was awesome.
yeah.
I played the second. I think I played the first two, or the third one as well.
Yeah, I think I played the first 1 and 2 or something.
Yeah. The second one is the one where one of the wives is found dead, which was like amazing. Yeah, well, after 10 years, I think it was.
No, I think it wasn't a bad game. Just
Yeah.
it's an old game, and I don't think it
It's
did well
Yeah,
those times. No, maybe.
it's a bit of a Microsoft game.
Yeah. It's
like-
it's a more charismatic Halo. That's
Yeah,
I think,
in a way.
frankly, if you look back at the Xbox 360 generation, Gears of War was Microsoft's best exclusive for the console. I think so.
Sure.
It sold very well. It was a shooter, and PlayStation didn't quite have a shooter like that.
It had Killzone, and we had
Killzone is
But they
alright.
didn't have.
but
So
it was
one thing of this game is that Sony didn't have. They put the face of the character up front. So I remember the ad of Mad World, but I also remember the ad of the first 360 when I saw that. Or the first Xbox, sorry. And I remember it was a great one. I think it was the Xbox 360. Now I don't remember it anymore.
360,
Because when I
360.
Yeah, because Halo was launched with
Halo
the
was-
Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah, like both the Xbox were really
Yeah.
heavy into Halo merchandising.
You can put maybe the video of the ad. I still remember the first one had the video where everything was black, and
Yep.
then you had this monster at the.
Yeah, the light and the monster like gradually appearing. It was a good video. Whoever did it in Taiwan made Microsoft made a bunch of money.
Yeah, you see this character is a legend now. Even in the last Gears of War or Gears 5, there is him.
Oh,
The other ones are a bit, different, but him, the main character with the bandana, I think is pretty.
yeah, it's a cool guy. It's like it's all charismatic and stuff, but it's not like
You know what reminds
it's not
me
like
of?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Nah, absolutely. Reminds me a bit of the game that released this year, the zombie one. The one that
Island?
No, the one that you like, Game Too Late. The one that you say, I want to buy this game, and I say, don't buy it, it's crap. Days
About
Gone.
Days Gone.
Days Gone?
Okay. Anyway,
Did you
guys.
buy Days Gone?
Character
Sorry.
looks like him. I don't know, like it's just a different.
Did you buy
Gears.
Days Gone? The fuck?
So going back,
Andrea wanted to buy it.
I
What?
wanted to buy Days Gone because oh my god, why are we talking about this? We're gonna talk about
Sorry,
Days
sorry.
Gone 2 years from now, when
such a
we will,
good game.
about a year and a half from now, when we will
Yeah,
be
man.
reviewing Days Gone, and I will have played it 2 years later, true to the
But,
spirit
Jesus.
and dedication and devotion to my channel, which I'm very famous across the world for. Also,
Why do they even make these games anymore?
um,
Sorry.
what is he doing now? Let's see. What's he doing? After closure of Bosque,
I think he's in quarantine as well.
has gotten involved with theater production. There you
What?
go. He quit the games industry. Good
What?
for you. Good for you.
I mean, that
mister.
last game that he did was so bad that like
I don't know if it was pushed and
Was so
kicked
bad.
out of the. Of
no.
the things,
He
but
just I think
they
he just
started
quit 'cause-
working on another game, Radical Heights. I remember that, but yeah, there was. You know what? Good. We need more people leaving this industry. Anyway, moving forward to another industry story, very much an industry story, Cyanide, which is a very small niche development based in France that makes some incredible games such as Le Tour de France or Pro Cycling Manager or Le Tour de France of the year before or Pro Cycling Manager of the year before, and so on. They basically do.
And Call of Duty, what?
Yeah, they also did.
How did that happen?
They also did Sticks. So from time to time they try to do other stuff like Call of Duty. They
How
try
does
to
that-
do Sticks, but basically this company makes cycling simulations, which is the only company in the world that does that. And they were acquired by Big Ben Interactive in May 2018, another simulation company that is actually focused on racing stuff. Not cycling racing, but more like sports and racing. So recently, they have the license for the World Rally Championship, and they've been doing World Rally stuff. And their latest game is what's that? Maybe I think it was V-Rally 4. So the reboot of V-Rally.
Are they doing Vampire Masquerade too?
They are doing also a sequel to Vampire. Yeah.
They're working on the new Vampire. Oh my god.
And they're also working on the next test drive. So be focused on that. But let's wrap.
This guy is really.
Yeah, that's a strange company that acquired a cycling company, and God knows what's gonna happen next.
Weird stuff is happening there.
I bring you the
Imagine
best.
Their meeting.
I bring you guys the best and the best only. But what else is there? Square Enix decreased sales but increased profit in 2018 following Dragon Quest XI, which I still have to play, but I may play it at some point.
What did they release that year?
Dragon Quest XI, Final Fantasy XIV, just general Final Fantasy MMO business, and the Nier Automata, which we're gonna talk about at some point, I guess.
Eventually.
And I'm gonna wrap up this first segment of the show by talking about a really interesting piece of information from 2 years ago from an article from Kotaku. Basically, a Formula 1 fan, he took his Game Boy camera to the Formula 1 race, and he managed to take pictures with his Game Boy, because I don't know if you guys remember, but the Game Boy had a Game Boy camera, which was an actual legit accessory that would take pictures. You would slot it into the cartridge slot, and it would take pictures with this tiny, super tiny camera here. But what this guy did was to attach a zoom thing, like a little optic, to increase the zoom function, the zoom ability of the camera. And so he managed from afar to take pictures from far off the cars. And guess what? The results are actually pretty incredible. This is him with his Game Boy Color and this little attachment here.
That's amazing.
Absolutely incredible.
How did he build the attachment?
He probably found an attachment that would fit the little camera, because I think it's one of those attachments that you would buy for your mobile phone.
Yeah, or
like,
something.
You know, you buy for,
or maybe did it on,
you put it
like,
on the back
own.
of your mobile phone, and it kind of works as a zoom optic for your phone. And so he started taking pictures. Now, there wasn't a lot of light going into that big lens, but he managed to pick snaps like this, and they're incredible. Look at that.
That's incredible.
Now, you have to consider that this looks like a video game, but it was taken from reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Super cool.
Like, people really used to draw stuff like that back in the Game Boy era.
Look at that. It doesn't.
They could avoid it.
It's funny
they could just do this.
It doesn't look real, but it is.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Look at that. This is incredible. I really like this one. That's almost poetic because the car is leaving. You take it from the back. And that wraps up the first segment of the show. We're gonna move on to the next, guys. In the next one, as I mentioned, we're gonna talk about Metal Gear Solid 5. We've got quite a lot to cover about the game. Let's wrap up this episode by inviting you guys to support us. You've got to follow us on Facebook on the Game to Lake page. But another thing that you guys can do is to actually support us by installing the Brave browser. If you go here, you will find a referral link. If you use this link to install the Brave browser, you're going to support Game Too Late and our little show here. And the Brave browser is an absolutely incredible browser, and I'm going to talk about it next episode maybe, because you do need to know about this one. And let's wrap this up. And let's move on to the next second part of the show. But if you're listening to the podcast, the second part is gonna start right away now. Okay, guys?